Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome back to Islamic Finance and Properties. आप लोग मेरे साथ शो देख रहे हैं. मेरा नाम अली काजी है. हमारे पास we've got a new guest with us as well. I did actually introduce you just before the break who our guest was. I'll give you another introduction just in case somebody's just actually joined us. So welcome back, ELLIOT. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me today, Ali.
And to tell you the truth, nowadays, I mean, I always say one thing, and because of this Corona thing and everything else going on in the world.
Yeah.
So I think it's just, it is, exceptionally grateful that you could actually make it with us. Okay, you were talking about mortgages and how, what the concept is and so on and so forth in 2007 and how things were very different then and how the regulations came in after 2008 and they became tighter and tighter and tighter. Just tell us a bit more about that so that our viewers understand. I mean, there was a time when people were actually self-certifying their mortgages as well, wasn't there?
There was. So people were getting away with murder, so to speak, in terms of, borrowing more than they should be. And then obviously getting into financial difficulty, which then the banks then have to absorb, and that's where they lost money in terms of lending to a lot of bad debt. And that's how we got ourselves into this issue with the credit crunch.
So basically it was more a case of irresponsible lending. Yeah. Anybody could go up to a bank in 2007, up to 2007, 2008, and say, this is how much I earn, and the bank would say yes. And
Basically.
That was pretty much how it was.
But yeah, virtually, yeah. It was a lot easier than how it is today, the process.
Okay, and now what are the key differences now? Because
so now
sorry, can we take a quick call, and then what we'll do is we'll talk further.
Sure.
Assalamu alaikum. How can hello? I think the caller. Hello. Okay, not a problem at all. All right. Okay. So tell us a bit more about that as well in terms of
So basically, what had to change is the way brokers and lenders assessed clients' affordability. First of all, so it started to get a little bit more stricter from the ending of the credit crunch in 2010 when we came out of it. That was the first changes were implemented then. But as time has gone on, there's been further changes that happened.
Okay, so basically what they said was no more self-certified mortgages. Is that what it was?
Yeah, so that was the first change.
That was the first change, massive dramatic change.
Yeah.
And then the concept of
assessing the client more stringently, knowing your customer more and demonstrating on file that you've done a proper job, in terms of assessing their pay slips, bank statements, etc. I mean, back before the credit crunch, you didn't even need the bank statement. So when the changes happened, it felt a bit intrusive for the client. They weren't used to that kind of way of doing
and very intrusive for the mortgage advisor as well, I've got to admit, because there must have been a phenomenal amount of administrative work there as well.
Yeah.
Before we take this further, let me just take a quick call.
Sure.
And then, जी अस्सलाम वालेकुम.
वालेकुम सलाम.
जी अस्सलाम वालेकुम.
मेरा नाम इरशाद है. मैं वोकिंग से बोल रहा हूँ. मेरी एक दफा पहले भी आपसे बात हुई है.
जी जी.
तो मेरी एलियट से बात कराएं. मतलब मैंने कुछ फ्लैट वगैरह लिए हुए हैं ये ब्रेड और लिवरपूल में.
जी जी जी.
तो मुझे ये सर्विस चार्ज और ग्राउंड रेंट वालों ने बड़ा तंग किया हुआ है. मतलब
आप एलियट, can you hear the caller?
Not fully.
Okay, all right, okay. So if you can you speak अशफाक साहब है ना आपका नाम? इरशाद भाई, आप एलियट से खुद ही पूछ लें.
हाँ ठीक है.
Elliot, he'd like to ask you a question.
Sure.
His name is Mr. Rashad.
Hello,
He's
Mr.
calling from Woking, did you say?
हाँ जी Woking, yeah.
Woking, in Kent. Gee, fire away.
Yeah.
What is your question, Rashad bhai?
Yeah, I want to know, I mean, really I'm fed up, and which is the best way to hand over key, or if they take me to the court and explain to the judge, what happened, why, when I bought, is overpriced.
Sorry. Rashad bhai, बेहतर ये कि आप मुझसे right, okay. So what is the question क्या है आपका?
Question यही है, मतलब है कि मैंने fed up हो गया हूँ ये ground rent और service charge से.
तो ground rent and service charge.
वॉलंटियर उनको चाबी दे दूं, भाई ये लो आप संभालें इसको, ठीक है जी, मेरा तल खत्म हो गया. लेकिन मेरे पास और भी एसेट हैं, क्या वो दूसरे एसेट पे वो चार्ज वगैरह लगा लेंगे या क्या करेंगे, क्या तरीकाकार होता है?
ओके, मैं आपको बताता हूँ.
ठीक है जी
All right, okay.
जब मैंने
इरशाद
लिए
भाई,
आप तो 5 साल से ऊपर हो गए मतलब और कितना अरसा ये जो
इरशाद भाई, प्लीज एक मिनट. आपने ये प्रॉपर्टी ली, आपने ये प्रॉपर्टी ली है, इसके ग्राउंड रेंट एंड सर्विस चार्जेस आर एस्ट्रोनॉमिकली हाई. ये कह
हाँ
रहे हैं ना आप?
जी
ठीक है.
जी
हाउ
जी
मच आर द ग्राउंड रेंट?
Well, some properties 500 ground rent, plus insurance you pay, plus service charge.
Okay, so 500 pounds, and
Yeah.
that's including the service charges and everything else.
No,
Yeah.
no, plus service charge,
Okay,
and plus
how much is the service charge?
service charge is nearly £1,200 a year.
So 1200 plus 500, yeah?
Yeah.
So that's 1700 you're paying, yeah?
Yes, plus
How,
I pay insurance for 350.
or on top of that?
Yeah,
Okay, plus 350 insurance.
yeah,
So you're literally looking at 2050 pounds
yeah,
per year.
£2,050, and plus they want to know proper name, the people who's living, and they charge £60 as well on top.
Okay, so plus on top they're charging you 60 pounds per year. Good
Yeah.
God. ठीक है जी. All right, so basically
scam है ना, मतलब है वो उससे
2,000 to 2,100 pounds they're charging you.
हाँ
Can
जी,
I
जी.
ask you a quick question? How much mortgage? How much is the property worth?
Well, the property, I mean, when I bought, is worth, 175, 150.
175. Yeah.
And now is worth, 50,000, 60,000, some 70,000 pound. I surprised, why the price comes so much down.
Sorry, you bought it for 175,000.
Yes, and they cover everything, is agreed, they cover everything.
Okay.
And they say, that is the key, and it's flat your now, Now I got headache.
And
I'm
now
really
and
fed
now
up.
the property is worth 70,000.
Yeah, 70 or maybe 80,000, depend.
Okay.
That's a
So I'm actually, so you bought it for 175 and the property is now worth 80,000.
Now, what they done actually, I bought that price, and I pay no much, maybe £1,000 each flat when I bought,
Okay.
Now, I realize I pay silly price. I shouldn't buy a flat like this.
Right. Okay. So when you bought the property, you put down how much deposit?
Nothing. They cover everything.
Okay. So they covered the whole deposit.
Yeah,
and
they
everything.
cover all the deposit, and they
And
pay.
how long ago did you buy this?
Well, nearly 15 years now.
15 years.
Yeah.
Okay. So he bought a few properties.
Yeah.
About 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And he bought them for 175,000 pounds each.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, so he's had them revalued. Acha, when you say you've had them revalued, did you actually send in a chartered surveyor in, or did you send in an estate agent?
No, actually, they arrange everything, They arrange everything, They never said, oh, can
No,
you
no, no.
pay
But
money
how
for
do you
such?
know the property's only worth 80,000?
Sorry?
How do you know that the property's only worth 80,000?
No, I ring estate agent, when I bought, after a couple of months when I received letter demanding from these greedy people. And then I realized, I written estate agent, I say, I want to sell this place. He said, how much are they? Well, I expecting 150, 160,000 each, He said, you mad, you get only, you're lucky if you get 50, 55,000 pounds.
Wow, okay. Did you hear that?
I didn't hear the last bit of it.
Okay, so basically he's saying that the estate agents told him that the property is worth a lot less
Yeah.
than
Okay.
175, around 60, 70,000 pounds each.
I see.
When he bought the property,
Yeah.
he bought it with no deposit, nothing at all.
Yeah.
The developer arranged the loan for you?
हाँ developer थे वो developer.
Okay. And which bank are you currently with?
Is Mortgage Express, and it's changed name now, Ron Seca, something like this.
Okay, so Mortgage Express, and then obviously Mortgage Express. They haven't changed their name. I think it must
No,
have
they
gone.
changed
They must
Mortgage
have
They've sold
Express.
the
I think
mortgage.
changed
Have they?
name.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. They have. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So, this is a complicated one, isn't it?
Yeah. So what is it that the client would? What was he?
Well, basically, he wants to get out of the contract. He wants to actually give them the properties back. And how does he do that?
The only way to do that is to actually absorb that debt there, but he's going to have a massive debt that's still going to be around him that he's still responsible for. So, is the mortgage on an interest only or repayment
Yeah,
basis?
interest only.
Interest only mortgage. It's an interest. How much mortgage? How much are you paying per month?
Well, I pay at the moment, thanks for God, interest rate is very, very low, and I just cover,
Okay.
Even I pay some money wear and tear, from my own pocket. I
Okay.
earn nothing, nothing.
Okay.
Just
so
had it,
basically,
I keep
all right.
receiving
Okay. So
letter
the
from these
number.
service charge
Okay.
people.
And how much rent are you getting out of that?
Well, every property, are getting around about £400 and £500.
So you're getting £400 and £500 rent
Yes.
per month.
Yeah.
But his outgoing is. And how much is your out? Irshad bhai, best thing to do.
Yes.
Can you please leave your telephone number behind?
Yeah, I left few time.
ठीक है?
चलो ठीक है.
नहीं, आप मुझे नंबर दे and
ठीक.
I will definitely call you
ठीक है.
and I will
Last time
discuss
भी
the
मैंने
matter.
दिया था couple of months ago, but nobody come back to me.
नहीं, I will definitely come back to you today.
Okay, ठीक है.
जी.
Okay, thank you very much, Fal.
आप stay on hold, please, Irshad
Yeah,
bhai.
yeah, thank you.
And he'll take the number off you. It's not a problem. It's actually quite a complicated one.
Yeah.
And actually very, very surprising in terms of what the developer's done to him. In terms
Yeah.
of, obviously all that glitters is not gold.
That's right.
And basically what he did was the developers actually, from what it sounds like,
It's a shame because, but a lot of people are in that gentleman's scenario. Even my own mother has got an interest-only mortgage that she's not able to move away from because the rules have now changed from lending from those days, which is what we were referring to earlier with the credit crunch. And these are the kind of real-life examples of what happens when there's sort of irresponsible lending, so to speak, because it affects the client later down the line. When he took out the mortgage 15 years ago, he probably didn't ever foresee that this was going to happen. A lot of people were banking on property prices just growing, and that's why they took the risk on taking interest-only mortgages without endowments, and a lot of people are now mortgage prisoners as a result of that.
absolutely, and I think that is a mortgage prison, certainly in terms of what Mr. Rashad is telling us in regards to him buying the property at 175, and the property is now worth £80,000 after 15 years.
Yeah.
I mean, I will certainly speak to him,
Yeah.
and we'll try and sort of sort that matter out. Before we do anything further, and I know that we need to finish off what you were saying, but I've got another call waiting.
Sure.
So let's just go to that call, and then we'll talk further. Ji, assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Welcome.
I just have a quick question. So I've just done my CMAP.
You've done your
I
CMAP?
have no previous experience in mortgages or anything.
Yeah.
I just wanted to know, what would be the next step without experience with regards to getting into
Sorry,
mortgages?
can I take your name first?
Yeah, my name's Mariam
Mariam. Okay, and where are you calling from, Mariam?
Kingston.
Kingston. Okay. So you've done your CMAP, yeah?
Yeah,
Okay, and you want to get into mortgage brokerage.
yeah.
You want to become a mortgage. Well, I think that's the best question for ELLIOT. Full stop. Because you've got. What do you recommend she does?
Is it Miriam?
Yeah.
Hi, Miriam. Do you have the full 1, 2, and 3 CMAP?
So I'm still to do the exam for 2, but that's in a week or so. So once that's done, I'll have 2 and 3. I've got number 1 right now.
She's got number 1, but her exams for number 2 and 3 are next week.
Booked. Oh, fantastic. So good luck, first of all, with those exams. I hope you do pass it.
Yeah, thank you.
Once you've passed your 2 and 3, you're going to be in a position where you're fully qualified.
Yeah.
There's a lot of companies out there that would not take on fully CMAP qualified brokers that don't have experience.
Yeah, that's
However,
what I'm
in my business, we actually look to take on brokers that do have their full qualification and no experience, because I was given a chance when I started off in the career. I never had any experience, and somebody took the chance of me, and I blossomed and grew from there. So I actually want to do the same in my business and take on people like yourself that are hungry, got the qualification, and want to learn. So that's part of the business strategy within Percom Financial Services, the company that I work for. So I would say if you want to leave your details with Ali afterwards, and once you've passed your CMAP, that's something that we can actually have a conversation about, and I can guide you further, and maybe there might be an opportunity to work together.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
How fantastic. We're actually, thank you so much, Mariam. Thank you for your call. And good
Okay,
luck.
well, thank you. Yeah.
All right,
thank
take care. I hope that was helpful. Oh, that's fantastic. We'll just go to another call after. Hello?
हेलो अस्सलाम वालेकुम
जी वालेकुम अस्सलाम.
जी मेरा नाम अरूज है मैं लंदन से बात कर रही हूँ
अरूज.
जी
जी अरूज हुक्म.
जी बात ये थी कि हमने घर देखा है फर्स्ट टाइम बायर है ठीक है
फर्स्ट टाइम बायर है.
तो हाँ जी फर्स्ट टाइम बायर है हम लोगों ने घर देखा है मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि मैं खरीदना चाह रही हूँ मैं अपने बेटे का नाम बीच में डालना चाह रही हूँ और वन ऑफ माय कजन हम 3 लोग मिलके प्रॉपर्टी खरीदना चाह रहे हैं ठीक है तो मुझे जानना ये है कि हम तीनों लोगों की स्टेटमेंट जो हमारी इनकम है वो इंक्लूड की जाएगी अगर फॉर एग्जांपल मेरी कम है या दूसरे जो दो लोग हैं उनकी ज़्यादा है तो मेरा नाम बीच में आ सकेगा या नहीं?
अच्छा ठीक है, एक मिनट आप होल्ड करें, आप कहीं जाना मत, मैं
जी।
इनसे ये बात कर लेता हूँ. So Elliot, I've got Aruj on the line, and basically what she's saying is that she's looking to buy a house. Uh, she wants to buy the house with her son and also one of her cousins.
Okay.
Okay, so there would technically be 3 people on the mortgage deed.
Yes.
Okay, so there'd be 3 people on the mortgage deed.
Sure.
And first of all, is that possible? Second of all, what incomes and whose incomes would they be showing, or would they need to show all 3 incomes? I mean, how does the process work for that? Is that right, Aruj? Is that
Yes.
okay?
Perfect.
Brilliant.
Hi,
Okay.
Aruj. Thanks for calling in. So it all depends on whether, first of all, whether all 3 of you are going to live in the property. So, you know, I would probably need to understand that first of all before I
Are
guide
you all
you.
going to? Are all people going to live in the property, Aruj?
Yes,
Sare
yes.
Yeah, they're all going to live there.
Okay. In that case, I've actually recently done a similar scenario, actually a couple of weeks ago. 3 people buying together. We actually had 4 people actually on that case. I had mother and father and brother and sister.
Would they have a problem with a cousin buying it as well? Because I mean, sons and or is that
As long
sort
as
of
you're all
just-
going to live in the same property and it's a bona fide transaction where you're all going to live there, there are lenders out there that can consider all 3 incomes, and that would then go towards the affordability, which means that you can then stretch whereby if one of you or 2 of you are buying, you might not be able to afford the same property. So the good news, it is possible, and it's something that we, you know, a type of mortgage that I do quite regularly.
Okay. And Aruj, can I ask you something? Are all of you first-time buyers, or is it just?
No. 2 of them they already had a properties, but I'm the one. I'm the first time.
Okay, so you're a first-time buyer, but your son already has a property, and
My cousin.
your
Yes.
cousin already has a property. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, so they wouldn't be able to take any advantage of the first-time buyer stamp duty as well, because I think sort of with the.
Yeah, and the fact that the other family members have properties as well, I'd probably need to understand a little bit more about what they're going to do with those properties in order to give you the correct answer,
Yeah.
so to speak. And this is where this is the situation with lending. Some things are never black and white. You know, there's always some kind of thing that could affect the criteria of the lender, and just to make sure that you're getting the best advice, really.
Okay. Well, look, the general advice on this is that yes, not a problem at all. It can be done, and yes, there are lenders that would take all 3 incomes in consideration. So that's not going to be an issue at all. The only thing that we need to understand is if all 3 people are living there, the other 2 you said actually own properties as well, and we need so the lenders are going to be a little bit more. Well, they need to know certain things. And if you're kind enough, leave your telephone number with our producer, and what we'll do is we'll talk to you a bit more in detail and find out exactly what the situation is, and then advise you better. But generally, it's not a problem at all. Thank you so much,
Okay.
Aruj. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for
I hope
calling.
that answers your question. Okay, so we're going to go to another call, and then we're going to continue with our. I am going to make sure that you finish
Hello.
your sentence. जी, अस्सलाम वालेकुम.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum.
जी वालेकुम सलाम. जी कौन सा बोल रहे हैं?
Yes, actually, I want to know if I have a mortgage which term is ending in 6 years' time, and I have 238,000 on it,
Yeah.
and I'm pensioner now, and I'm not able to pay that much amount at the end of the 6 years terms. Is there anything I can do because I have a limited income?
Okay, no problems. Can I first of all, sir, can I ask you your name?
Mr. Shah, Nasir Shah.
Rafi Shah.
Yes.
Acha, Mr. Shah. Just a very, very quick one. So, basically, at the moment, you've got a mortgage. Yeah?
Yes. Sir.
And the outstanding balance on that is 230,000.
Yes.
Okay, and you're a pensioner.
Yes.
And you've got another 6 years left on the mortgage term.
Yes.
Okay. And is it only an interest-only mortgage, or is it a repayment mortgage? I presume it's
It's only interest, and it's in joint name, me and my wife.
Okay, so it's an okay. So what is the question, sir?
The question is that after the 6 years term, obviously I don't have money to pay. Is there any other way going through and getting some way of arranging that amount? My property is worth about 750.
And you'd like to stay in the property, yeah?
Oh, yeah, I love to.
Not a problem at all. And the good news is that I'm sure there is a way. Okay,
Wonderful.
so I'm going to pass it on to Elliot. I'm not sure. I mean, are you dealing with equity release?
Not yet. Not
I'm
yet.
qualified.
No.
I've qualified in it.
Okay.
My company doesn't advise directly on it, but we have affiliates that we actually advise our clients on that type of business. So I've got a very good understanding of it, qualified in it, but we've chosen not to give advice directly. But I can help you and guide you.
If you could just give a general advice, and what we're going to do is we're going to ask Mr. Shah to leave his telephone number behind as well.
Sure.
And then I'll be able to sort of direct him in the right place as well.
No problem.
But just a general advice at the moment. But I'm going to ask my producers to take a telephone number for Mr. Shah as well, and so that we can actually speak to him afterwards. And that would be more in detail in terms of what you can do and what your options are and so on and so forth.
Okay.
So if you just listen to the advice and obviously do give your telephone number at the end as well. Elliot, fire away.
Yeah, so from what I could hear there, Mr. Shah, you have an interest-only mortgage with 6 years left on it, and you want to stay in the property.
Yeah, the property's worth around 750, and the outstanding balance on that is 230.
Okay, so it all depends, Mr. Shah, whether your pensionable income can afford that outstanding balance that's remaining. I tend to suspect that it probably can't. But if it can, then that's the most straightforward way of remortgaging from that lender,
No, I can't.
going to another lender.
No, he said he can't.
Can't do that.
Right, okay.
I didn't hear that side. So if you can't do that, the other alternative is to look at the equity release route, which you just mentioned, which is called a lifetime mortgage. And effectively, you're taking out a loan until you pass away or go into long-term care. There's two types of options that you can do. You can have what's called a rolled-up option, whereby the interest is being added on a monthly basis, but you're not making any payments. So that's more appropriate for somebody that doesn't have an income or can't afford to pay a mortgage. Or you could have the other option where you're actually servicing the actual mortgage itself, paying an interest-only payment until when you're ready to sell the house or move on, so to speak.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
the difference
So those are the options that I would.
mortgage, lifetime mortgage, and equity release, please?
So what's the difference between a lifetime mortgage and equity release?
Yes, please.
It's virtually the same thing.
They're both, equity release, technically speaking, it is the same thing. So it is for slightly maturer clients who haven't actually.
I would say that equity release is a type of lifetime mortgage, and it's a vehicle where you could actually release money for different. There's different types of scenarios. You could have somebody that wants to release money to go and help their child buy another property, or they want to fix up the house, so they want to take out 50 grand and make some home improvements. And that's where equity release mortgages can come into effect. A lifetime mortgage could just be a straightforward where you're coming to an end of the term, you're not sure what to do, you want to stay in the house, and therefore then the lifetime mortgage company will then take over your existing mortgage.
Thank you very much for your call. आप अपना telephone number ज़रूर छोड़ देना. We're going to go on a small break. Straight after the break, we're going to be back, and we're going to try and finish Elliot's sentence. See you after the break.